Coming up on this episode of Up for Debate, we are wrapping up this decade. That's right, 10 years in review. Matt and I are going to do it the only way we know how, by talking about it. So join us as we recap the 2010s. This is Up for Debate, episode number 168, recorded December 19th, 2019. The end of a decade. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Up for Debate, the debate podcast where the two hosts agree on everything. I am Sean Jennings, joined by our own baby new year. It is Matt Mariani. Hello, Matt.
What's up? What's up, Sean?
What's up?
Happy almost New Year. We're about almost a month away.
It's getting there. It's going to be here before you know it.
I heard we got a decade to recap here.
Oh, my God. Can you? 2020. They said it couldn't be done.
2020. I wonder, this is probably going to be a really good year for ophthalmologists out there. Like 2020 vision. Ophthalmologists.
Hey, Matt, can you do me a favor and just explain how that thought in your mind worked?
They're eye doctors, right?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay, so 2020 vision.
Okay,
is like perfect vision. Right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good year for them because that's the joke. That's how it works.
All right, I guess we'll just have to let that slide.
2020 vision.
Okay.
So, have you ever been to an eye doctor?
Yes.
I think that would be a pretty swell job to have.
Staring into people's eyes, you can really see into their souls.
I've always thought that's a pretty good one. Like, you have a lot of like other doctors have to do a lot of like gross stuff. I'm sure eye doctors get their share of gross stuff too. But
eyes are gross.
But like, on like a day-to-day basis, it's got to be pretty sweet.
But also,
I think if I could be any doctor, I think I'd be an ophthalmologist.
Yeah, but it's really high risk because if you screw up and you make somebody, like if you're like an elbow surgeon and you screw up somebody's elbow, it's not like making them blind. Yeah,
but Sean, the only ophthalmologists I've ever been to have been in mall kiosks.
Well, that's why.
If they did anything to me, I would probably just blame myself because I probably shouldn't have gone to a mall kiosk ophthalmologist in the first place.
Did you know the last time I went to an eye doctor and got an exam earlier this year, they had some big device that gets like really close to your eyeball.
Right.
For me to look through it to take a picture, whatever it was. But the lady kept bumping my eyeball with it. Like, she had to, like, bring it in and swap them out a bunch of times. And she would, okay, close. And she'd go, oh, did I hit you? And I go, yeah. And she did it, like, 4 or 5 times, and it, bounced off my actual eyeball. It was not great.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Those machines, they get up close with those lenses. They're lenses, right? Yeah, they're like
something like that.
They test it, do you see better out of 1 or out of 4? 4 or 3? 3 or 2? 2 or 3?
Yeah, I don't think we know what we're talking about. So we should probably stick to what we do know.
So 2020 is coming up. We're at the end of a decade. We are wrapping up this decade. And what a decade it was. Right?
I mean, Matt, what's really incredible is we've been friends for a decade.
Yeah. As your cat wants to be your friend
licking
right now.
My face. Yes.
What's its name again? Ginger Snap?
Try again?
Troy?
No.
What is its name?
I should have asked
Sam.
you for name ideas because all these are great. No,
yeah.
It's not Sam. Think of the I was going to give you an NBA tease, but you don't know the NBA. No, it's Charlie.
Wait, where was the NBA?
Because
Whose name in the NBA is Charlie?
Well, I'm sure there have been a lot of Charlies, but I sometimes call him Sir Charles, who is the nickname of what NBA player?
It's got to be Charles Barkley.
Charles Barkley, that's right. The round mound of rebound,
that.
As they used to call him.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I call the cat Sir Charles.
Nice. I know a lot of NBA player nicknames. I don't know much about the NBA, but I know Sir Charles, Pistol Pete.
Oh, sure.
There's also Dikembe Mutombo.
I think that's just his name.
That's
That's
his
not a
name.
nickname.
That's his name.
That's just his name.
Magic Johnson.
That's pretty much his name.
Uh, Dennis Rodman.
Okay, you gotta stop.
Yao Ming. No, there's
That's
other
his name.
players.
What
that
is
have-
wrong with you? You're just
Other
like naming,
players have-
you're like, and of course, who could forget Michael Jordan?
All right, so I guess I really just know Sir
No.
Charles Barkley and Pistol Pete.
No, Julius Irving was Dr. J.
Okay, I've
Alan-
heard of Dr. J.
Hakeem Olajuwon. That was his name. His nickname was the Dream.
Didn't know that.
Kobe
Never-
Bryant. Come on, now this is one of the more famous NBA nicknames.
It was just Kobe.
No,
Or
the Black
was it
Mamba.
Kobe? What?
Yeah,
That was his nickname?
it was Karl Malone, the mailman.
No, these
that
are a
was-
lot of. Okay, I clearly don't know any NBA nicknames. Forget everything I just said.
Okay, I really called you on this, huh?
Yeah, I knew two of them, and that did not know there were going
Kenny
to be
Smith,
more.
the Jet.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's again his name.
Nah, I think he changed it. I think he was something else before that.
Vince Carter, Vinsanity.
Yeah.
Later parodied as Linsanity. Jeremy Lin.
Is that where Linsanity came from?
Yes, the New York Knicks, where he started
Yeah,
4 games,
I
was
remember.
really good. and
Whatever
that's-
happened to him? I liked him.
He's playing in Asia, I think.
Ah.
At the moment, he's still playing.
Yeah, he was good.
still
He was on the Knicks. Yeah, he was a good player.
He was too good for the Knicks.
Yeah. How are the Knicks doing? Are they good?
No,
Are they
not
a
at all.
joke?
Not even close. They're abysmal even for the Knicks.
Oh man. Wow. I don't keep up with basketball. We were establishing before the show started that I of all the major sports, I'm most out of the loop with basketball. I just don't watch it. I don't have anything against it. I just don't have much of an interest in it. I never really followed a team or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I guess I would root for the Knicks because they're the hometown team. But are the Wizards good?
No,
Washington, they're bad too.
no. Are you on teams that are good?
Are the Bulls good?
No, terrible.
Oh man, I'm really striking out. I could see myself being a Bulls fan because of Michael Jordan.
Okay,
Uh,
who's not on the team anymore? You know.
oh, I heard he's on the Magic. He's on the Orlando Magic, right?
Orlando.
Does the Orlando Magic still exist?
Yes, they do. They're not very
Okay.
good. No,
You know, they might be
76ers
getting
are very good.
The 76ers, Philly.
Yes, the Clippers are very good.
Okay.
The Miami Heat's having a weirdly good season, even though they don't have any big name players.
How about the Celtics?
Celtics are
Your
doing okay.
team.
They're hanging
That's your
in there.
team, right?
Yep.
The team you
Yep,
pull for?
They're in the mix.
You got a Celtics jersey?
No.
You have who's the most famous Celtics player to ever live? Bobby Orr. Yeah, you got a Bobby Orr jersey?
Honestly, I give you credit for just knowing who Bobby Orr is in general. Like, I get you're making a joke, but still, that's pretty good.
You want to know where I learned who Bobby Orr was?
Oh, God, where?
From Cheers.
Hey, okay, there's no shame in that.
Cheers.
no shame
Cheers
in that.
taught me about Bobby Orr. They think Sam mentioned him once or twice, or something. I don't know. He was on the he was. I don't know if he was on the show, but they talk about him. Something like that.
I was trying to think who is the most famous Celtics player, and whether you want to give that to Larry Bird, Bill
That's
Russell,
right, Larry Bird.
Bob Cousy, Robert Parrish. I mean, they've had so many.
The only one I've heard of is Larry Bird, but that also might be because of the song. Which, by the way, this is the second time I'm referencing this song today. I referenced it at work earlier.
Are you talking about Summer Girls?
Of course, I'm talking about Summer
The great
Girls.
Larry Bird jersey 33.
Yeah, because at work somebody brought up Kevin Bacon.
Ah.
So I said I like Kevin Bacon, but I hate Footloose.
Footloose. Oh, that's great.
One or two people they caught on, but
Just wait until someone asks who was in Family Ties, and you can say Michael J. Fox was Alex P. Keaton.
yes. Yeah. By the that should be like a goal. That's my one of my resolutions going into 2020 is to be able to reference every line in Summer Girls by LFO by the end of the year.
You know,
I
kids, Billy Shakespeare wrote a whole bunch of
wrote a whole
sonnets.
bunch of sonnets.
Wow, that is sad.
I don't know. I think we got that's like half the song right there. Really.
Honestly, it is. And
Mhm.
to be fair, the references sort of peter out in the second half of the song. They really go hard at it for a little bit there. Thank you, LFO.
How does it go? Tried to call you up. Thought I'd call you up, but what's the loose? What's the use? Is that how it is? Thought I'd call you up, but what's the use? I like Kevin Bacon, but I hate Footloose.
Um, keep talking while I Google the lyrics to
Kevin Bacon, but I hate
New Kids on the Block had a bunch of hits.
Much it's Chinese food makes me sick.
And then I think it's Flower Girl Stop By, blah, 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 blah. You're the Best Girl That I Ever Did See, the Great Larry Bird
the Great
Jersey,
Larry
33.
Bird Jersey 33.
When You Take a Sip, You Buzz Like a Hornet. Billy Shakespeare wrote a whole bunch of sonnets. That's terrible. That's really bad.
That's very forced.
We did forget one. You left one day and never came back. Stayed all summer. Then went back home. Macaulay Culkin wasn't
home alone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then weird ones like When I Met You, I Said My Name Is Rich. You look like a girl from Abercrombie Fitch. And I'm like, why would you say your name is Rich?
His name isn't Rich.
That doesn't even. Love New Edition and Candy Girl, which is kind of a reference.
I bet somebody probably bet him $20 that he couldn't write a song that rhymed Abercrombie and Fitch with something.
I forgot about some of these.
Which is a very easy thing to rhyme. Why would anybody bet money on that?
There was a good man named Paul Revere. I feel much better, baby, when you're near.
It all kind of fits the theme, like Larry Bird and Paul Revere. We found out that this band was inexplicably from somewhere in Massachusetts, LFO. They're from Bayfield or something. That's like a very New England type name.
Yeah, don't ever read the lyrics to the song, Matt, because it's very stupid. Like the color purple, macaroni and cheese. Ruby red slippers, and a bunch of trees. Like, what is that?
It's like an 8-year-old wrote it. It's great.
I mean, but it's not even like clever.
No, they just thought of things that rhymed. And
oh my god,
I appreciate it. I think it's one of the best songs ever made. I love it. I think it belongs in a time capsule. Like if future civilizations could listen to this song, I would put that in there. I would put Call Me Maybe in there. I would put All Star by Smash Mouth in there.
Oh,
I would put probably Smash Mouth's entire discography in there.
That's a jam. They had a lot of great hits.
They did. Except they didn't get a shout out in Summer Girls.
No. Well, what's the timeline between Summer Girls and All Star? When did those come out compared to one another?
All Star would probably be 2000 or 2001.
Yeah, LFO.
I would say 2000. And Summer Girls was 1999. Right around there. Yeah. Okay, so we're saying Summer Girls definitely predates All Star then.
They were both released in 99.
Wow, what a good year for music.
Said no one ever.
That's And I think the Baha Men were right around that time, or they were probably 2000.
Matt, in general, I would say we need to do a category of show that is picking a year and seeing how many of the top songs we can name from that year.
Yeah, but as we established before, I'm not very good with years. Because remember, you asked me what other famous movies came out in 1988, and
how about this, Matt?
I tanked at that.
Since we're in the 2010s, we're wrapping up the decade. Using the Billboard Hot 100 chart, can you name... each year the Billboard has their number one single of the year, the number one selling single of the year. Can you name any of the 10, I guess 9 because this year's not over yet, number one selling singles of any year between 2010 and today? Now, I will say none of these will surprise you. Maybe one, but generally they won't surprise you, especially the early 2010s.
I'm pretty confident that I cannot do this. I don't
Appreciate your
listen really
honesty.
to any music that's been made
Well, think
after like 2003. I
again.
don't like.
We met in what 2009, 2010. Think of what was
Yeah.
playing back then.
Oh, okay. My first guess is gonna be we're get the number one, something by Kesha.
Yes,
Kesha's got to be. Yeah,
yes.
she was pretty hot back then.
2010's number one single of the year, TikTok.
Starships. Oh, TikTok. Right.
TikTok.
Okay.
Song that
That's
was everywhere
that's right. I don't remember any of that song,
and
but
still a jam.
um, that's right. No, it's coming back to me now. Yeah. Oh, that song was everywhere. So that was 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Um, Beyonce had a hit somewhere in this decade. No.
No. 2011, Adele's "Rolling in the Deep."
Oh yeah,
2012, Gautier with "Somebody That I Used to Know."
that was number one.
Believe it
Wow.
or not, which Carly Rae Jepsen "Call Me Maybe" was that same year, and I would have
Yeah, I
thought
thought I would
been
have gone.
bigger.
I would have gone with that
I'm
one.
sure it was
That
close. It doesn't have the
Those
exact
both are
numbers
good
here.
songs. I just didn't imagine that Gautier. What talk about a real one-hit wonder right there.
Speaking of one-hit wonders, Macklemore
Yep.
with "Thrift Shop."
Thrift Shop. Thrift Shop was everywhere.
Which again, that was the same year as 2013 as "Blurred Lines," which that was everywhere.
Yeah. So Thrift Shop beat out Blurred Lines.
Yeah, Royals as well was big that year.
Royals. Yep.
2014, Pharrell Williams "Happy."
Sure.
I don't think that's surprising.
Sure. Yep.
Uptown Funk in 2015.
Yeah. No, none of these are surprising.
Um,
I just forgot most of these songs existed.
and then most of the artists. So I guess I officially stopped knowing about music in 2016, which was Justin Bieber, "Love Yourself." Same year as Justin Timberlake, "Can't Stop This Feeling." That was pretty big. But then it's like Ed Sheeran, and I'm like, who's that? And then Drake.
I've heard of Ed Sheeran.
And then there's the Lil Nas X "Old Town Road" nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah, things kind of went off the rails
Yeah.
after 2015, I think.
It's
A
confusing.
little bit. Yeah.
Can you name the artist who had the most number one singles during the 2010s? Maybe this
The
is
artist
more
that
your
had the
speed.
most?
Yes, most number ones.
The most number one
Singles. Yes.
in 20. Okay.
I would have gotten this wrong. I would have said who was the second most. If I
I'm
were
going to
guessing.
say who's big? Who was big this decade? Who was big in the
Yeah,
2010s?
who was the big artist of the decade?
Drake, probably. Drake was
Drake is
pretty big.
fourth.
Okay.
Drake is fourth.
I'm probably forgetting someone really obvious here.
Oh yeah. For
yeah. Okay, give me a hint.
Well,
What's
I'll tell you who number 3 is above Drake. It's Bruno Mars.
Right. Oh wow, damn. So okay, how about Jason Derulo?
No, come on. He's not even in the top anything. Stop that. I was surprised Taylor Swift is actually like tied for 5th, which I would have thought she would have been higher.
Oh, what about Kanye? It's got to be Kanye West.
No, number 1 singles. Number 1. Huge hit songs.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about like influential music.
No. This is by the charts. The number 1.
Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber is just below Drake, tied with Taylor Swift.
Okay. For the whole
I'll give you a
decade.
hint. One of the top 2 is the top 2 are
Jay-Z.
both. They're both ladies.
Oh,
And one of them, I believe, holds the records for. She's the first female artist to produce 5 number 1 songs in the U.S.
Adele.
No. This is taking forever. Number 2 is who I thought would have been number 1, Katy Perry,
Okay.
who just was on whatever that one album was, which was, I believe, Teenage Dream, Firework, E.T., Last Friday Night.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
I mean, she was on a tear. Number 1 is
She was early 2000.
number
Early
1
2010.
is Rihanna, believe it or not.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Rihanna.
yeah.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have known that. Anytime I hear a song and I don't know like who sings it, I immediately, if it's a woman, I immediately think of Rihanna,
Mm-hmm.
and I just assume that she sings it.
No,
So that
she's
probably goes without saying that she's number one for uh, the charts. Cool. Um. Well, that's the music. We covered this decade in music.
yeah,
You want to talk film for this decade?
absolutely, Matt.
Was this a good overall or a bad decade for film?
Matt, how many of the top 10 highest-grossing films of the 2010s can you name?
Oh, okay.
This
We
one
could
might be
play
more
that
your
game.
speed.
Or do we have to go in order?
Oh no, hang on. I have to actually find. This is the list for only the year 2010. I don't know
wow.
if I can actually get a list for the 2010s. Yes, I can. Okay.
Okay. So we're talking about highest grossing films?
Highest grossing films of 2010. The list in front of me is the top 50, but we'll see how
Yeah.
many you can name.
I can't go in any particular order. I'm just going to
That's fine.
fire out names. I think there's got to be a space on there for Star Wars. There's got to be up there for Marvel.
Okay, well, but do you want to be more
All of them.
specific?
All the movies.
Okay.
That Galactic. No, what's a Infinity War?
Yeah, so Avengers Endgame is number 1, Star Wars
Yep.
Force Awakens is 2, Avengers Infinity War is 3, then you skip down to number 6 for the Avengers, number 8 for Avengers Age of Ultron, 9 for Black Panther, and 11 for Star Wars Last Jedi.
Yeah. They just dominate the charts.
But there are some movies in the top 10 you didn't name. Some of them will surprise you.
How about Skyfall? Why not? We talked about Bond.
That's the
It's
24th
Skyfall.
highest grossing of the decade.
Okay. Yeah, Skyfall was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a good one. How about good for Skyfall? How about oh boy, there's been so many movies, Sean. There's been so many movies.
I know,
in
but
this
Matt, think of the
decade.
ones that made a lot of money.
Frozen.
Frozen is number 13.
Yeah.
Now, there's actually, Matt, I will tell you, there are actually 2 movies from the same franchise, both above Frozen, at number 12 and number 4. I think I just stumped you more. Oh. Hang on. Oh, boy. We're reconnecting. Oh, boy. Folks, the secret answer is...
Yep.
Okay.
I would say it's Coco. Is Coco up there?
No, Coco was like one of the worst performing Pixar movies.
That's really sad.
And there's no
did
Pixar
amazing
movie.
numbers.
The highest Pixar movie is number 15, Incredibles 2.
That's really depressing.
Yeah. Again, Matt, this is taking forever. So, Jurassic World, the first.
No, I thought Jurassic World. I thought
Yeah.
like it entered my head, and I was like, "There's no way that grossed that much." Okay.
The first Jurassic World at number 4, and Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom at number 12. Also in the top 10, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 at number 10.
That's right. That came out this decade.
Number
This decade has felt like a long decade.
It's franchisey.
Just saying.
And then number 7, Furious 7 from the Fast and the Furious
Right.
franchise. And number 5, surprisingly enough, is the new live-action Lion King, the 5th highest-grossing movie of the decade.
Another, again, very sad.
Yeah.
But
Very
understandable.
Mm.
What was your favorite movie of this decade?
My,
What movie meant the most to you?
I don't know what movies I've watched over the last 10 years.
Yeah, over the last 10 years,
Oh my
Sean,
God.
which ones stuck out to you the most?
But you know
Let's
what,
go.
Matt? So the difference between you and I is sometimes we go into an episode and we have a topic, but we approach it in different ways, which I think is fun. I came into this episode, I actually made a list of my favorite and worst things from the 2010s.
Good.
We don't have to
You came
use it,
prepared. You came
But-
prepared.
but there was a movies-related thing on here.
Yeah.
Because one of my favorite things of the 2010s is superhero movies, not in the way you think. I think Marvel movies are fine. I don't think they're amazing movies. I don't think they're terrible. I think they're solid movies. I enjoy watching them. They're fine. But what I appreciate about them is what they've done for movie theaters. Because prior to the 2010s, movie theater attendance was lagging coming out of the 2000s. There just weren't a lot of great movies happening at that time, but also the Marvel movies really did reinvigorate people going back to the movie theater. You have to go to the theater to see the movie, which is counterintuitive when you think about how technology has evolved in the 2010s, right? More on demand, more streaming, more services. You would think people would go to the theaters less, but actually ticket sales are strong because of these big franchises. And to me, that's great because I'm a pretty technology first guy, but I value movie theaters, and I think movie theaters are important. I don't think they should go away. And if it takes big franchises to get people in the seats, I think that's a good thing because it keeps theaters around. So that's what I appreciated about this decade, is that people went back to the theaters.
Yeah, that's well said. It was something that the movie theaters needed for sure. They needed this.
Well, it's also interesting to me too that if you think about it, 2009, right before we entered this decade, was the release of Avatar. And it was amazing to see, even over the next 5 years, 3D movies explode and then implode. Because right now, do you ever see a movie advertised as in 3D? I know you can see some in 3D, but it's
it was a fad.
Totally
that was
fallen off the wayside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a gimmick, really, to try to get
and it did
try to get people back in the theaters.
It's amazing because if you look at charts of box office grosses, over the years, you'll see a big jump in 2009, 2010, 2011. It's not that more people went to the theaters; it's that they were being charged $15, $20 a ticket to see it in 3D. It was kind of misleading.
It's inflated numbers, inflated prices. So. I remember we did an episode about this where we talked about movie theaters and their future and stuff like that. A lot of what we predicted came true, as a matter of fact. So you could go check that out in the old Up for Debate library. But one thing we did say is that we were gonna, we maybe would see the pendulum swing a little bit in the other direction, that people would start coming back to theaters, and that seems to be happening. So.
Yeah, well, again, it's the same reason why the only stuff that's working on broadcast TV these days are live events and sports. It's because you have to have a reason to see it in a theater versus anywhere else. And when you have an Avengers Endgame or Star Wars or something like that where it's spoiler heavy and I've seen all the other movies, so I have to see this one now. Like, I don't need to see Star Wars in the theater at all. I am not at all jazzed up about seeing this movie. But I'm going to go see it in the theaters. Like, that's crazy, but that's what a franchise really sets up. And that's a big change over the last decade.
Right. Well, you want to be a part of it. It's the FOMO thing.
Right.
You want to be a part of it. You don't want to miss out.
Yep.
You want to be able to talk about things around the water cooler or at school or whatever. You don't want to miss out on things.
Yep.
Spoiler culture.
Yep.
People will ruin things if you don't go see them on the first night. So, Sean, what's up with your list there?
Oh, my list here.
Yeah. Let's take a look at that.
Would you want something I liked about the decade or I didn't like?
Give us we've been talking about a lot of things we liked, I think. A lot of positives. I think you need something to just kind of temper it out. Give me a thing you didn't like about the decade.
All right, this is a very specific thing. Okay? But I couldn't think of any broad things I didn't like about the decade because it's a fine decade. Entrepreneurship, Matt.
Whoa. You didn't like?
No.
Okay.
2010s, part of it was the decade of entrepreneurship. It really was. Shark Tank took off, and then all of a sudden it's all small businesses, and it's anyone can open up a business online, or, this whole decade was about that. But what drove me crazy about it is entrepreneurship isn't for everybody. Entrepreneurship is just a shiny, glossy way of saying pull yourself up by your bootstraps, trickle-down economics. Like, that's all it is. It's the same thing of, if you work hard, you can make it in this country. The same as if you have a good idea, you can make it in this country. And it's like, that's not how it works. Not everyone should be an entrepreneur. There's literally books called Everyone Should Be an Entrepreneur, and that is so far from the truth. That is such a dangerous thing to tell people, because then you have like stupid idiots on Kickstarter with their bad ideas trying to make a business out of it that'll never work. Don't encourage. That's like saying everyone should be a race car driver. Like, some people should be race car drivers. The majority of people shouldn't.
Well, what do they say? They say too many cooks spoil the broth, right? So that's...
Yeah. No, it just drives me crazy
like
because it's not even done in a way where it's like, explore your creativity. Like, that's a good message, right? But entrepreneurship, it's literally just reframing the idea that you are self-reliant, and if you're not successful, it's your fault. That the only thing holding you back is the fact that you aren't working hard enough. Right?
Which is a bunch of crap.
This whole entrepreneurship thing, if I work 24 hours a day for my business and it's blood, sweat, and tears, and you do whatever it takes to be successful, and if you fail, you got nobody to blame but yourself, which is, again, it's the glossier version of this message we've heard going back forever. It's Reagan, it's all this kind of stuff of, not to get it political, but that's really what it is, and I think it's just a better reframing of it. And it really does drive me crazy. It really does drive me crazy.
Yeah. Where do you think that all started from? Is there like a catalyst? Do you think that the recession had something to do with it?
I think so, because we saw there were a lot more people out of work, so they were looking to work independently in small businesses.
Yeah.
I also think part of it is media. Because I think following that, right, business in, let's just say, 2004, 2006 was not very interesting. But I think following the recession, business again became sexy to some degree, small business at least. When you have big tech companies like Facebook and Google and Amazon, that's kind of an interesting story, right? And then you have the internet making millionaires out of people. It's an interesting story. We hadn't seen that since 99, 2000, and it all crashed after that. So I do think that there's some percent, and then again, shows like Shark Tank, I think really have made it possible for everyone to know the term entrepreneur, right? That's become mainstream. Why is that? Because people are talking about it. So it's a branding thing. That's all it is.
It's just, when you look at it, because you're right, there was this big trend, this big push this decade of self-reliant entrepreneurs.
You think about sites like Etsy, right? That's new this decade. Platforms that allow people to theoretically become... It's never been easier to build a website. It's never been easier to... you can pay $200 and incorporate a company. It's theoretically never been easier.
Yeah, and apps coming out with...
Sure, and being able to make money 100% digitally instead of manufacturing hard goods.
It's just another platform for people to... like invent things that maybe other people need, but maybe they don't really need them. I don't know. Like,
it's just over encouraging people. Is the problem.
Too many. Yeah,
you have to be realistic. It's too
some
glossy.
People don't have very good ideas, but they might be good at other things, and they don't need to be entrepreneurs.
It's okay to work for someone else.
Yes.
It's okay to not be your own boss. That's this pitch of like a real successful person is an entrepreneur. And I'm like, that's not true. And almost dangerous to say, because you're setting up a reality that can't be real.
It's like P.T. Barnum or something.
Yeah.
It's
that old Thomas Edison and, man made from nothing to become a big success. And
yeah, well, if there were a billion Thomas Edisons, then there would be no Joe Sixpack to work in the factories. It's got to be, you got to have a nice balance.
There's a great podcast I listen to. I actually think you would really enjoy it, Matt. It's called Your Kickstarter Sucks. And it's a very funny show, but it's these guys and they essentially go on Kickstarter and find the worst Kickstarters, hence the name. And you read some of these, and honestly, yeah, they're stupid and they're laughable, but at some point my heart breaks for these people because they've been told their whole lives that if you have an idea, it can be successful, and nobody wants to tell them your idea is stupid and you should let it die.
I see. That's what Shark Tank does. Shark Tank
100%.
says your idea sucks. Yeah.
And what they do, and even if the sharks say their idea sucks, the episode ends with them saying, "But I'm not giving up. I know I'll be right in the end."
Oh yeah, always, because they've invested so much time at that point. It's like if they give up, they'll go insane. So it's sad.
Yeah,
it is. But maybe you learn some things along the way. You learn some skills along the way, and you can apply them to work in a big company.
It's not that people shouldn't do it. I think if you truly have a great idea and you have the mind and personality to run a business and be successful, you should do it. And I'm glad that people today have opportunities to do it they didn't before. What I have a problem is it's the marketing of entrepreneurship that I have a problem with. It's the framing of it and using it as an excuse to say, Matt, you are not successful because you do not work hard enough as an entrepreneur. If you were a real entrepreneur, you'd be rich by now. That's what bothers me because I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, it's sort of like when somebody someone will come up and be like, "Oh, I want to be a professional basketball player." It's like, okay, well, you would have been scouted by now. Like there would have been scouts that would have been finding you out, discovering you, and writing you. Like it's also, you got to temper your dreams, temper your expectations. But it's not even that. That's what I always say.
It's in that scenario, the problem would be is if I went up to you, Matt, and said, "Matt, why aren't you in the NBA yet? If you practiced more, you'd be in the NBA." It's your fault you're not in the NBA. That's what entrepreneurship does. It allows you to pass the buck. The reason you're not in the NBA, Matt, is because you're not good at basketball, but I'm not going to tell you that. It's not I'm going to tell you that you can do anything you want. You can be in the NBA if you just
need to read my book and work hard enough.
There you go. So
and drink the magic water from Space Jam. That gave him special powers.
Yeah, the special stuff. Michael's special stuff.
It was just water the whole time. It was just regular water.
Or was it? No, it was human growth hormone.
Yeah, that's right. They all got tested and they all lost their jobs right after. So
yep.
Tragic, really. But they beat the Monstars.
Remember when Bill Murray was there?
Yeah, Bill Murray.
It's a weird friggin' movie. Matt, do you want to talk about something positive about this decade?
Yeah, bring me. What was something you liked about the 2010s? Here we go.
You're going to appreciate this one. One of my favorite things of the 2010s, fast casual dining.
Fast casual dining, Sean. Is that so? If I understand correctly, you're not talking about fast food.
Wikipedia.
Fast casual dining to me means like, would you say like a Denny's? Like, what are you talking about here?
Okay.
Are you talking about Grubhub?
No. As Wikipedia writes, better than I could explain it, a fast casual restaurant does not offer full table service, but advertises higher quality food than fast food restaurants.
Like Panera.
An intermediate concept between fast food and casual dining. Examples include Five Guys, Chipotle, Shake Shack, Panera, etc., Smashburger, etc., etc.
I can get behind that. I love a good Five Guys.
Not a thing before the 2010s.
That's weird to think about.
That's
weird to think about.
And especially
it's real weird to think about.
Because some of these like I did actually
feels like they've been around forever.
Chipotle was founded in like '93, but didn't really break out until the 2010s.
No, I had never heard of it probably until this decade.
Five Guys didn't start franchising until 2003, but they didn't really break out until the 2010s.
Where did people go to eat before that? Like.
Isn't that something? But you know what? Honestly, Matt, you're not wrong.
Before this decade, where did people go to eat?
It's truly
diners, I guess.
Changed how people eat. No, because they would go to fast food or a real restaurant, what they would call a casual dining, like a TGI Fridays or an Applebee's or something like that.
Wow, it really has changed the way that we eat.
It has.
Casual dining. I never thought to put it in its own category, but it is. It's not fast food. It's not a restaurant. It's not a restaurant. Right. It's its own thing. So casual.
Fast
what
casual.
Do you call it? Fast casual dining.
Yeah, it's not fast food. It's not casual. It's fast casual.
Yeah. And you say this is a positive. What do you like about fast casual dining?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you can kind of, I would argue, again, you could tie the rise in fast casual dining to the recession. because I think younger people, your sort of 18 to 34s, had more limited discretionary spending, so they weren't going to full restaurants. And I think this offered a more price conscious alternative that was better than fast food. And for me, what I think it's done is it's created more cuisine opportunities. Because you look at something like Chipotle and all the similar, your Moe's and your other examples I'm not thinking of, Baja Fresh, all these other examples where maybe a Taco Bell was your sort of Mexican option in town, but there were a lot of places around the country that didn't have high quality Mexican food choices. And so, it's the same with burgers, because you get your Steak and Shake and your Shake Shack and your Smash Burger and all these burger chains. It used to be a McDonald's burger, or you went to a fancy restaurant. I just think opening up cuisine options I think you would agree with me, Matt, that over the last decade, we have seen a rise in people trying to cook more at home. I don't know if the statistics bore this out, but I do think there's been a renewed interest in baking. Some of that's Great British Bake Off and things like that. A rise in cooking and people caring about what they eat again. And I think this is both a cause of that and a response to it.
Yeah.
I think what year did Super Size Me come out?
2004.
4.
I was going to say that. Nice.
You knew
All
it.
Right. Yep.
People started to become more conscious about what fast food was in the 2010s. And that's, again, when the McDonald's of the world started coming out with more high-end offerings.
Yeah. Yeah. Something that I really liked about this decade, going along in the same vein with that, the casual dining.
Yeah.
Touch screens. I like the touch screens and the
on the tables. You mean?
Like I'm talking about in restaurants. I like the in all manner. I like I go to Wawa almost every day, and there's a touch screen there, and I order my sandwich on the touch screen. I use a touch screen for the Coke machines and Pepsi machines wherever they are throughout the world. That's also pretty cool.
Let's break this down, because I think you're talking about a couple different things.
Well, I'm saying that I like them all. There's the concept of me not having to interact with another human being.
But I'm going to challenge you on that. I'm going to challenge you on that. Because I think some of what you said is okay, and some of what you said is not okay.
Okay.
Because I think, like, Coke Freestyle machines are one of the best things on earth.
They're awesome.
They're really a treat.
They are. They're great.
And I agree. Ordering at, like, a fast food restaurant or a Wawa on a touch screen is also great.
Yeah.
Because it means workers can be assigned to other tasks. And especially when you're ordering something that has a lot of customized options, it's good to be able to do on a touchscreen. I advocated, and I think one of my favorite things of the decade, I don't know, Matt, if you've gotten into the mobile app ordering for fast food and fast casual dining.
Sometimes.
But that's been a big revelation
I've done it
for
before.
me.
It's pretty neat, yeah.
Especially at something like Taco Bell or something where you customize a lot of stuff. I think it's really great. To me, the kiosks at the sit-down table service restaurants, I don't like those. Because the point of eating there is that you have a server.
Wait, what do you mean? What are you talking about, like at Panera or?
No, I'm talking about like at Chili's or TGI Fridays where they have the kiosks at the table.
Oh, see, I don't do that a lot.
Okay.
Like, I can't remember the last time I've been in a Chili's. Oh my God, probably back in college.
Man, we gotta go to Chili's.
Damn. No, I don't think we ever really do. I think that's not really necessary. There are plenty of better options now than Chili's. But yeah, no, the only similar experience is once in a while we had a Ruby Tuesdays nearby, and then it closed, and then we had to say goodbye Ruby Tuesdays.
People can't see at home, but I am aggressively rolling my eyes.
We had to say goodbye to Ruby Tuesdays, and sing the song, and then I never went there. I haven't been there in a long time. But even that, the old Ruby Tuesdays right down the road from our apartment doesn't. It didn't have those touch screens, so I don't know.
I've been in restaurants that have them, and they're unnecessary.
There's a barbecue place by us that has one, but only for paying. Like you pay with it. You
Yeah.
don't order with it.
That
There's also like
makes
games
sense.
if you have a kid.
But
and
see,
the
that's
kid,
what's weird. That's
I
weird.
don't know.
Bring an iPad.
Yeah,
That's weird.
I think that's odd. Yeah, yeah, especially because you have to pay like $5 per game. It's like, really, like just so your kid won't scream for 30 minutes while you wait for the food. Like, get him a coloring book. Coloring books are like $1.
Remember when the places used to have like paper tablecloths that you could draw on?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's all in the past, Sean. All
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
past. The relics of the past.
Hmm.
Well, I like that. I like the touch screens. I'm gonna go out and say that is one of my favorite things about the decade. Grubhub has also been pretty swell. DoorDash, everything where they can just deliver food to me. But I don't like that it costs a lot more, so I don't do it often. But I think it's a cool idea. I also think that Uber Eats is pretty neat.
Yeah.
I thought about becoming an Uber Eats driver.
Oh my God! Can I film it?
Wait, what?
I think
wanna
you
film me
being an Uber
delivering
Eats,
food?
I think you being an Uber Eats driver could absolutely be a thing. Like
Could it
that
be
sounds
like a
hilarious.
show? Like a documentary?
Yes. Like you getting lost and like
Should I wear like a GoPro or something?
Yes. We'll strap the car up with cameras. I think that would be very funny.
You think I would like? What do you think I would do? Would I like drop people's food or eat it? I don't know. Like,
Yes, all that.
how
You
sorry
would
I
like
was
go
stuck
to the
in
wrong
traffic
house and someone pull a gun on you or something. Like I'm just trying to think of the things that could happen.
the wacky antics that I
You know,
could
like
get
a
into.
feral dog chases you down the street or something.
Witness
I
all
don't know.
kinds of crimes. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure those people have swell adventures.
Oh boy. No, food delivery services, it bums me out. 'Cause
Why?
It's man, I want
The
to be
whole
a good
economy.
I know I want to be a good consumer in our capitalist country. I
Yeah,
really
that's what
do.
we are called by Lord Disney to.
But then it's like, but these people are paid pennies to do this very difficult and unpleasant job, and we're adding a lot more carbon to the
Sean,
environment when they drive their
you s-
cars around.
You sounded like a big socialist on this show. You complained
It's
about
bumming me out.
Reaganomics before, and now you're complaining about
No.
DoorDash.
Look,
People
Matt,
get paid. I tip very well. I'm
one
a
of us
nice,
has to
good
be
tipper.
woke. No, and the thing is, the companies
Yeah.
don't even give the tips to the drivers.
I give the ptips to the drivers.
Dude.
I pay them in cash.
Oh, you
I
pay
give
in cash.
like
Well,
$5
that's-
cash.
oh,
Yeah,
that's-
I always
okay,
try to
that's better.
tip in cash.
Okay, that's smart. That's smart.
Because I feel like people get shafted if they don't.
But no, it's
so.
such a bad economy. The gig economy is so bad. It bums me out.
It's good. It maybe is bad for your soul, but
No,
people
well,
get
it's,
paid. You know.
but not enough. Not as much as they.
What would you do? How would you fix this situation? Because I like getting food delivered to my door.
I would skip right ahead to when it's automated. When we have drones that deliver
robots. Oh,
yes.
okay.
That to
So
me
you
I
would-
feel good about.
And we don't have to tip the robots.
No. And the great thing about robots is like there are certain things they should and should not do. I feel like delivering a pizza to your house is something a robot could definitely handle. Like that seems very doable for a robot.
I think so. I think the big fear is that many of them will not return. I think
Right.
people kidnap these robots and do unspeakable things with them. Like to take them and use them as like a practice football dummy or something, like for their practice squad.
It seems like a really overthought plan
or they
to
would
get a free.
they would reprogram the robot to have it deliver pizzas for the competitor of the pizza delivery. This could be a thing.
Isn't that the plot of Chappie?
Yeah, it is the plot of Chappie.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
Was
Did you
it?
see that?
No.
I liked it. I really liked Chappie. No, I'm thinking of District 9. I really like District 9. Chappie sucked. Yeah.
Okay.
different
I was about to
movie.
say, same guy.
Yep. Chappie was dumb.
Same guy.
Same guy. District 9 was
I
awesome.
did see District 9, and
One
that
of-
is a
one
great
of the-
movie.
Really good movie.
That was
Yeah.
Neil Blomkamp, which I can't
Yes.
believe they still let him make movies. Because he did District 9, which was great, and then he did Elysium, with Matt Damon.
Oh yeah.
And then he did Chappie,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird.
Yeah. He needs to stop. But anyway.
Yeah.
Chappie sucked. Sorry, Chappie.
Yeah, not a great film of this decade.
Nah. Not at all. Yeah, overall, would you say this was a good decade, bad decade, or somewhere in the middle?
It's boy, it's so hard to say because I can only speak for me personally.
No, it's not. I think this was a bad decade. I think this decade sucked, and I'm really happy it's over.
No,
Yeah.
no, come on, we got fast casual dining.
Yeah, this decade
Marvel
was bad.
movies.
This was bad. Bad things happened. I think it
No.
was the early part was okay, but I think the way that people treat each other now is pretty bad. I think that Twitter is bad,
Okay, hang on.
and I think that a lot of the way that we are is now bad because of things that
Oh,
happened in this
Matt,
decade. Yeah, bad decade.
Name a good decade.
The 90s. The 90s were great.
They were not.
Love the 90s. 90s were amazing. You can't tell me that the 90s was not a great decade for everybody.
Matt, the 90s were amazing because you were like 5 in the 90s.
Yeah, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
I had no responsibilities.
Oh my
and
god.
people took care of everything for me. I have to pay bills in this decade. I have to pay for my own gas in this decade. I have to pay rent in this decade.
So you just don't like this decade because you were an adult in it.
'Cause I have
This is the first
responsibilities.
decade you were an adult in. I wonder why
Yeah.
you don't like it.
You know, I never really made this correlation before, but
Yep.
I think we just found something out. Yeah.
Because if you think about it, you entered this decade as a college freshman, and you leave the decade as a married man.
That's
Isn't that crazy?
the hell. Yeah. That is wild.
Yep.
That's true, though. Damn. I feel like I went through like a time warp.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
it is really crazy to think about.
That is really crazy to think about. But I think maybe it was good in some areas. I can't really think of what, but
Again, though,
sure, like medical advances, that's always getting better.
it wasn't-
90s was the best decade.
No, it's not. Stop that. It
You
wasn't.
can't tell me it wasn't.
It
It
just
was a great
wasn't.
decade.
It was not a great decade.
Amazing. It was so good.
No.
Bill Clinton, you had like prosperity and
Boy
and
bands.
boy bands and what was that frosting your hair where you like
The Frosted Tips.
yeah, that was great.
Films like the Star Wars
Gigapets.
prequels.
Pogs,
Titanic.
slap bracelets.
Tamagotchi. Matt, I think the 2010s were a mixed bag. I don't think they were bad because I do think there were some good things.
Yeah,
I don't think it's fair
Like
to say
what?
it was all bad.
I think overall I give it a C.
Okay, well that's right in the middle.
Yeah, so it was not as good. The 90s I would give an A plus.
Oh, okay.
90s were great.
What
It was
would
a
you
great
give?
decade.
What would you give the 2000s?
A B.
But
It
9/11
was kind
happened.
of somewhere in it was an average decade. Yeah, but the aftermath of it, with everybody being united and
Yeah, but there was
together
also
on
nothing.
the same page.
But Matt, there was literally like 4 years where nothing interesting happened culturally.
What 4 years are you talking about?
Name anything
'Cause
from
I'm not gonna agree
anything
with
from
you on this.
2004. Name anything from 2004. Name a movie, name a song, name anything from 2004.
Wait a minute. I'm not looking it up.
Okay, Matt, seriously, I'm not joking. I will give you a $20 bill if you can name any of the top 10 highest grossing films of 2004.
What? There has to be. I mean,
There's no way. You'll never do it. This is what I'm saying.
The Bodyguard.
That was in
That-
the 90s. You're just thinking of 90s things.
Damn it. The Pokemon movie. That's also
Oh,
2000.
no.
Sean, I can't name what give me something from 2004.
Well, I was also going to look up to see if I could find the
Did you just Google things that happened in 2004?
That does sound like a very funny. No, I was looking up the I was looking up both the movie chart and the music chart for those respective years. So let's see, Matt. 2004 in film. The highest. See, what does this say about 2004? The highest grossing movie of 2004 was Shrek 2.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh God. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. You're right. The early 2000s just
Do you know
got
what the number one
bumped down
song
to a
of
C.
2004 was?
The number one song was "Summer Girl" by LFO.
Again, you're thinking of the 90s. No, it's Yeah with Usher featuring Lil Jon and Ludacris.
Oh, I would have. Okay, that was a great song. It's timeless. People play it now, all like it. But
Do you know what the number 6
Weddings and
highest
stuff.
grossing song of 2004 was? Or the top singles?
the number what?
Number 6.
Number
The
5.
number 6.
Number 6 for 2004.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have to be "Hey Ya" by Outkast.
Actually, that was number 8. So this, I want you to just remember for a second, this song beat it.
The Safety Dance.
No, Matt, it's my and yours favorite band. I think someday Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, Hoobastank with The Reason.
Oh. With what?
The Reason.
The Reason?
And the reason is you. Do you remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I do.
That was
Yes.
Hoobastank.
Okay.
Also top singles of 2004, Lean Back by Fat Joe and the Terror Squad.
Yeah.
Um,
Fat Joe.
Three Doors Down is in here. Nickelback. Evanescence.
Yep.
Oh, gross.
Terrible decade for music.
This was
Terrible. Yep. Okay. No, you've convinced
Linkin
me. The
Park.
2000s were not good.
Dido, Matt.
Yeah.
Ashley Simpson.
Nope.
Need I go on?
No. Yeah.
Jessica Simpson.
Was there anything redeeming? I'm sure. What about Smash Mouth? Was early 2000s, right?
Yeah, it was like 2099, 2001.
Okay. Yeah, the rest of the decade sucked. Okay. I'm willing to accept
No,
that.
I mean, once you get to like 06, 07, 08, it starts to get better. I'm just saying that the first half of the 2000s was
Lifehouse,
really bad.
remember Lifehouse?
I love Lifehouse. I still
Remember
like Lifehouse.
Coldplay was pretty big.
Coldplay's still big.
Fall Out Boy,
Ugh. Gross.
Green Day.
Grosser. Yeah, man.
Well,
Clay Aiken. Come on.
yeah.
Get out of town. So anyway, Matt, what
American Idol mania.
I give the 2010s a B.
Okay.
I think it wasn't perfect, but I think there were some things to like. And for me personally, it was a great decade.
Yeah. No, personally, it was great. I'm not.
As
I'm
two straight
saying
white
in
men,
general.
we had a great decade.
I'm saying culturally.
Culturally,
Yeah, my grade was all based on culture purely. I'm not. I was saying it's not personal.
Oh,
Although
yeah.
the '90s grade was personal. It was a great decade for me, and I think for most people.
you passed
So
elementary school. I would say,
unless you lived in Eastern Europe, not a
Ooh.
great decade for Eastern Europe at all, or North Korea.
although is it still a good decade for Eastern Europe? Has there ever been a good decade?
Has there
for
ever
Eastern
been a
Europe?
great decade for Eastern Europe? No. The
Oh,
answer to that is no.
No.
Not since the Habsburgs.
Matt, I don't think we'll ever have a good cultural decade again.
That's really sad to think.
But good by your definition. Because media, I'll even include the 90s in this, certainly the late 90s. Media has become so fractured thanks to the internet, thanks to changing tastes, thanks to streaming, thanks to all these, Spotify and all these things, that I don't think we'll ever have a cohesive media culture like we had in the 80s and the 90s. Like 80s, it's like E.T. and Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark and all, it's like all the movies. We don't have a ubiquitous culture anymore, unfortunately. And I don't think we'll ever be able to say, wow, this whole decade was really great in culture, because we'll never agree.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to another podcast that I listen to a lot, and on that podcast they were talking about how it's the concept of having nostalgia is going to change because everyone will have their own nostalgia
That's right.
because everybody will be creating their own, what videos that they watched, what time period they were influenced most by. Like, instead of everybody collectively remembering the 80s or remembering the 90s fondly, it will be like, oh, I watched these videos, but all of these things are shows from 1970s or something, or like the 2010s. Like, yeah, I think you're probably right. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing,
No, I
but
don't think it's a bad thing. It's
I
just
think that
just different.
you might find other people that are like, oh yeah, I really jived with the 60s, or I like vaudeville. Sean, by side note, I really like vaudeville.
Well, I mean, come on, who doesn't?
Damn, I like there's some really funny things if you like YouTube vaudeville acts. But anyway, like you might find some like niche people like that you want to hang out with.
It's only going to get more niche, but I think that's.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever be able to say this decade was great for the country, but we will be able to say this decade was great for me, and I think that's fine. I'll never forget. There was a great. I wish I remembered his name, but there was. Did you ever go to this guy? There was a great presenter who came by Marist College. He toured the college circuits, giving presentations on the history of music. Did you ever go to any of his? He came by once a year, every year.
No, I was not aware of this.
He was a cool guy. He used to work in the music industry, and he would give like an hour-long presentation, and he did one on the 50s, one on the 60s, one on the 70s, and one on the 80s. And he would do it in different years. So this year he'd come by, he'd do the 70s presentation. Next year he'd come by, he did the 80s. I saw 3 of the 4 of them because he came every year. Really smart guy, had been in the music industry. But I asked him after one of his presentations, I say, why do you stop at the 90s or at the 80s? Why don't you do a 90s one? And he goes, even doing the 80s was hard. Their music split so far apart in the 90s and moving forward that to cover it in an hour would be absolutely impossible. And part of that's MTV, and part of that is digital music, and part of that is it's gone
Media.
So far awry that it couldn't be covered in an hour, and that really stuck with me. And I said, that's you're absolutely right.
That's true. I think maybe we'll move to I think I said the word niche before, but I'm going to say it again. Like a cottage industry music scene where, like, I don't know, people are bringing back like the bagpipes and like traditional instruments and stuff, and
you're for that.
You're going, yeah, and you're like going to see, but like it's your little, everybody's got their own little slice, is what I'm trying to say. Like that is kind of like our decade, is like everybody's got their own little corner, everybody's got their own little like YouTube section, YouTube channels that they watch, and I think that's fine. I mean, it is isolating in a way, but in a way it's not. Like, because there are people that assuredly watch or are interested in the same things as you, and it's easier than ever to find those people,
Well,
even if they are worlds apart.
And we can
even if they are 2 worlds apart.
Oh, boy.
Like
You got to stop that. You got to stop that, buddy. We're in the future now. We can wrap up the episode here by talking just a little bit about the future. I agree with you, Matt. Unfortunately, I think the reality is much less pleasant than that, because while I agree that people are going to get more into their niche corners, our future will unfortunately be algorithmically driven. And we're already starting to see it now. And the issue with that is, in a perfect world, Matt, you would find the thing you're interested in, and you would go seek out where it lives, and you would hang out there. Unfortunately, in the future, a computer is going to figure out what you like and is only going to show you what it thinks you like.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay.
And I'll explain why.
Yes, please.
All right? Okay. So I was on YouTube. I think I might have mentioned this on the show before, but over the summer, I was on YouTube a lot, watching videos as I do and stuff. And I don't know why, but YouTube really thought that I would enjoy videos about beekeeping. So I clicked on the video about beekeeping. I watched it, and then it presented me with another one. So I clicked it and I watched it, and they kept sending me all these videos about beekeeping. And I had never, I'm afraid of bees. I hate bees. I don't like being anywhere near them, but I know a lot about beekeeping that I never ever thought I would learn. And it's because of these weird algorithms, these like mysterious algorithms. It's almost like they rewarded me with the skill that I never wanted to learn, but now kind of think is kind of cool. I don't see myself ever becoming a beekeeper unless
Sure.
I have to, unless we live in like a world where it's necessary for me to do that. But I I would have never sought it out if it hadn't been presented before me. I wish it could do more things like that, but unfortunately, all I get
I
now are like weird computer science cat stuff.
But see,
I don't.
that's the problem, and I could spend a whole hour talking about this, so I won't. But quickly, three issues with our algorithmically driven future. Number one, tech companies drive those algorithms, and they have to make a profit at the end of the day. As someone who works behind the scenes in social media, I know how algorithms work, and what happens is they make me pay them to get higher up in that algorithm. So they're not agnostic. They have a bias. Number two, algorithms don't always work. They can be wrong. For example, how certain when you Google solar system on YouTube and you watch one video and the recommended on the side are things about how the Earth is flat and about how the universe isn't real or about how God created the universe or whatever you want to say. Algorithms don't filter for that kind of stuff, and it leads people down dangerous holes to extremism and all kinds of other shady things.
Sure.
But number three, and for me, maybe even more dangerous than those two, is the loss of discovery. Because in a day and age where an algorithm feeds you everything, you lose the ability to just take Wikipedia, for example. One of the most fun things about Wikipedia is reading an article, clicking on something, seeing another article. You search for something, but you go to the wrong article, but you learn something. Go through the Wikipedia rabbit hole, right? But an algorithmic future where you want to learn about rabbits, and it just automatically feeds you the rabbits page and the answer from the rabbits page, you've taken away the ability for yourself to discover what else is out there.
Yeah,
So
no
that
sense
weird
of
niche,
wonder.
someday the algorithm's going to get so good that they're going to know what you're already interested in, Matt, and they're not going to show you videos of beekeeping. Because realistically, the algorithm isn't sophisticated enough to know you're not a beekeeper yet. But someday it will, and you won't get to discover new things. That's what scares me.
But then I'm sure that there will be someone will invent something. They'll call it like the Discovery Channel.
But again, someone else
Or
created
you know
it.
what I mean? It'll be
No,
like
I know what you mean.
you'll go on. It'll be like there used to be. I think they got rid of it. I thought it was kind of cool. There was a site called Stumble Upon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Remember that? And
Yeah.
but it would just take you to like just random websites.
But
if you like put a category in, like I think something like that might come in.
But again, it's
and do
always
that.
built by
Be like a roulette.
somebody else. You lose your own individual ability to discover things on your own. Take Facebook's algorithm, for example, okay? There are a certain number of people that follow my company's page. When I post something, not all of those people see it. Now, they've chosen to follow my page. They're interested in my content. Facebook does not show it to them because they decide whether or not you see something. You've lost the ability to choose whether or not to see my content. And that's scary to some degree.
There's a solution to this.
Blow up the internet.
Turn off your computers and go to your local library. Your
Local what now?
local library
Your
is
local what now?
the new sponsor of Up for Debate. Your local library.
Yes, because libraries are drowning in ad cash.
Go to your local library, get a library card, and then you can discover all the things you want, and it's your choice of what you can discover. The world is your
Book.
library.
Yes.
Your book, yes. All you have to do is turn the page.
Wow.
And speaking of turning the page, we are turning the page on 2019. We are ending it on a great note where we're only just 10 days away. This new decade is probably going to bring like self-driving cars and probably the end of times. But,
Yes, the end
we've had a
times.
great run. We've had a great run. It's the 90s were great.
Well, did you know, Matt, next month we will be celebrating our 5-year anniversary of doing this show.
Wow.
Can you
Half a
believe
decade.
that?
Half of our own
Half
decade.
of the decade.
Yep.
And what a year it's been for us here on Up for Debate. I would argue the best year we've ever had.
Yes.
We did our scary movie retrospective. We did our James Bond series, which was a hoot. We did Nonstop August.
It was nonstop.
We did some book clubs. We did a couple movie drafts, which were a lot of fun. It was a great year, and I think we're going to have an even better year next year.
It saw the birth and death of game nights. Really? I mean, that had been going on for like a year, but like
we've been doing that for like 3 years.
Yeah. I think we actually didn't. Did we ever do it in 2019? Probably the least amount.
Let me see here if
maybe
I can
like
track
maybe
down
the
the
end of
exact
2019.
date.
We did it once. I think maybe
20. Would you believe? No, it can't have been 2015.
No, that sounds preposterous.
Well, because we started it on this show, so that would have had to have been in our like first year. Which actually, maybe that's not crazy.
I mean, in total, we've probably only had 9 episodes of it, so spread across 4 years.
Yeah,
That's
Matt, we've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
and we've done.
It's not.
You do know we've done like 80 episodes of that, right?
Of game nights?
Yes. It's like almost 90. It's like
true.
88.
That's true because we actually we completed 3 full campaigns.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember those were the days. Those were the days.
Oh my God.
But,
well, I will say we're going to have a great January coming up. We won't be back until the new year, but a lot of great stuff we're going to be doing. I'm sure our Super Bowl prop bets is a great annual tradition.
Hey, yeah.
That we will be bringing back. So look forward to that at the end of January. And then outside of that, I don't know what we're going to do next year, Matt. We'll have the Movie League will continue.
We will have the Movie League. We'll also have the 2020 election preview, which you remember how good we were at the 2016 election preview.
Matt, I'll make you a deal. We can do the election preview on November 3rd, the day before the election.
I predicted that Bobby Jindal would be the next president of the United States.
Yeah, that was stupid even for then.
Yeah, that wasn't even like because of the whole Trump phenomenon, you understandably got it wrong.
The word Trump was never said on that episode.
No one said it. Not at all. That was pretty bad. I think it was like Bobby Jindal and Chris Christie would be his running mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
disaster.
See, but I picked Hillary Clinton and she didn't win either. So that was a miss.
One of us came a lot closer than the other though. So
yes, I don't like to brag, but that's exactly what happened. Matt, we got to end it here. Thanks for a great year. To you and everybody out there listening who's been joining us this whole time, telling your friends, spreading the good word about Up for Debate. Please continue to do so. You can go to our website, upfordebate.tv, and get all the episodes past, present, and future. If you miss us over the next couple weeks, go listen to the archive if you didn't catch it all. There's a lot of great stuff from this past year. You can also subscribe to the show to get new episodes in 2020, wherever you get podcasts, or the video version is on YouTube. And, of course, you can get in touch with us at UpForDebateTV on Twitter and UpForDebateTV@gmail.com. That's going to wrap it up here for us and for this year. On behalf of Matt, I'm Sean. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in 2020.